We've got a lot to cover today in this video. Basically what our plans are for this year and also next year, because we have to plan for that now, especially with stock birds or the pairings, what the direction we're going as well. So stay through. You don't want to miss too much because you just won't know what's going on when I start posting videos. Let's start off over here in the older section anyway. So in here we've got a mix of last year's birds and this year's birds. I've just got them together. Realistically for me, I'm going to keep all my birds together. The reason behind that is that I am trying to create a one loft kind of family of birds. That's what my ultimate goal is. So realistically in a one loft, they don't separate sexes. All the birds get thrown into one section and it's pretty much fend for themselves. So my plan is to really sort through these birds and find out which ones are going to be fundamental in sort of reaching that goal, because we need birds that mature quick and are hardy. They pretty much can live off basically wheat and hardly anything too exciting. But I won't go into it too much now. We'll go into it a little bit later, but it's going to give you a reason to why I have all these birds together. I know there's not going to be 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds together in one loft, but I'm just going to treat this as is for now, because most of these guys, it's going to be their first time tossing, first time racing. So I'm going to treat them all as not very smart 1-year-olds or young birds basically. So we'll train them all together, treat them all the same. And then hopefully out of, I think there's around about 40 in here, we can really sort of figure out who's who, which birds are worth sort of keeping. We're going to be pretty strict on them, like really strict. I don't want to house lots and lots of birds. I want to stick around a very small number. I know it's pretty crazy, but there is some guys I see in Europe and that can create a variety of family of birds that can be very competitive in small numbers. So that's kind of I don't really have a set number at the moment, but I don't really want as many birds as I've got this year, because at the moment I think with the high flyers I've got over 120 pigeons or something here, and it's just a lot to keep on top of, especially all these guys here. You know that I've collected bits and pieces here and there. We've got like beefcakes, we've got all these kind of crosses, and there's a few colour projects there. It's too much variety, so I'm going to really narrow my focus over the next 24 months, more so in the next 12 months, so that we can really narrow down to the birds that we want to really keep. Well, the ones that are going to last, because we're going to be pretty hard on this season. Look at these little guys over here. Basically, I'm going to start racing locally as well, which is going to be very helpful to get these guys in track. We're going to do the sprint series, which goes out to about 500 kilometers, which is pretty much in that range of one loft racing anyway. Some of the one loft races go out to about 600. It's not too much further. So we really want to sort of work on the birds in that sprint to middle distance. So we're going to do the sprint series here, which runs, I think, around about, I think it's 8 weeks. And over that 8 weeks, there's 2 races a week. So the birds are going to get around about 16 races in that 8-week period, which is going to be a really good test for them. It's going to show which birds actually mature really quick, can handle that kind of racing, and learn really quick as well. This is the kind of stuff I'm looking for in one loft birds. I'm all new to this anyway, but I'm kind of just piecing together bits of information and all that kind of stuff. So if you've got some information, drop it down below. But we do want to make that family that can be very competitive. And that's what we're trying to do. But I'm not going to go into it too much anyway. We've got around about another 30 on this side. So in total, we've got 70 birds we're going to race. We've got all these ones. There is a few in here. I just want to see who's got one of these little rings on it. You've got one. So you've got a special ring on it. So we've got 13 or so of the $10,000 ring races. There's actually 2 $10,000 ring races. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to race the 16 races in the sprint series, and that will finish early July. And then at the start of August, the first $10,000 ring race starts, and then at the end of August there's the second $10,000 ring race in the other federation. So we're going to jump over, race those 2 races if we got any of the special ring birds left, which we should have a couple left. We've got a few here, and basically the other federation has heaps of races we can continue to race on throughout the year if we want, depending on how many birds we've got left. So that'll be our main goals. Basically, we're going to hit those 16 races pretty hard with all these birds. See which birds make it through. We probably won't go as hard on the special ring race birds. We just want to make sure they'll get out to the distance that they need to. He's trying to land on the camera because we do want to participate in that race. I want, you know, the money side of things good, but I would like to win it. It's out, I think does around about 450, 480 kilometers. So that's about as far as I kind of want to go with all these young birds. We're going to go out to 500, and then we need to focus on some young birds for one lofts that will enter later on this year. So I've started saving a little bit of money. I'm going to try and enter a 10 young bird team into one of the one loft races. But we'll see how much money I can save in that time. But we are going to enter this year in a one loft somewhere in Australia with the birds that do well in this season that we sort of identify. So it's going to be interesting. We do have a bit of a mission ahead of us, but it's going to be a bit of an adventure. And so that's basically it. I want to concentrate on the family of birds for one loft racing that are competitive in one lofts and locally out to 500 kilometers, middle distance and sprint. And also want to concentrate on the black grizzles or Thai grizzles. Just want to sort of bring them into that family as well. So we'll have that family of birds and also the black tigers for a colour sort of thing, because they are looking, I do really like them, they're beautiful. And the rest of the colours I probably won't concentrate that much on, because I don't want, next year I don't want like 100, 120 pigeons. It's just a little bit too much. I do have some plans in place to bring in potentially 2 new birds as well. I'm not talking about your average kind of birds, I'm talking about real heavy hitters. I have lined up one bird that's going to be an absolute, I'm not going to say too much, but it's going to be really good to bring into this family of birds I'm trying to create and test them. And there might be another one later on in the year that we might bring in just in time, maybe to breed a couple of rounds for the one lofts. So stay tuned. We will get rid of a couple of stock birds. Have been thinking about birds that you know, do well, whatnot. More so what how these perform is how we'll sort of rank that list of which stock birds we do keep. I do want to bring in at least one new one, which will be very soon. Maybe a second one, so it's keeping it a secret, but they are very, very special birds. So I just don't want to say anything, it's pretty exciting. So make sure you get ready. We've got a pretty busy year in the first half. We've got 16 races to smash out. We've got 2 special races. Then we need to figure out what we need to do to start preparing these birds up ready for the one lofts. We've got to start getting these guys breeding babies for one lofts. We've got to send the birds to those one lofts. It's going to be a very busy year, so I hope you just get ready and you're excited by it, because it's going to be busy, very busy. So I'll see you soon.